Here. How you guys doing? Welcome to the bottom line. I'm Michael Noland. Tonight is Tribal Forum number 33. Can you believe it? And tonight's special stream, I don't usually stream on a Monday, do I? Occasionally, we've done something around that. Thought I had that down, folks. There I am. Anyway, is actually a part two to last night's stream where we all contemplated the following: rocker mouths that roar, pundits, or putches. And that's going to be the question we're going to address tonight. Now, as everybody's filtering in, I like to get started kind of as a larger group. I usually take care of channel business, things like that. And I'm looking through here and I'm watching and I'm seeing that Deuce is Wild. Uh, am I right that you have upgraded to tribal chieftain, Deuce? Or is this just because you're a tribal chieftain? We're still trying to figure out these things. Storm Cop says member for 12 months. I'm not sure. Does that mean you've prepaid 12 months or as you've been that long? I don't know how long I've had my membership going, but that sounds about right. But if these are in any way shout outs, thank you so much, guys. And by the way, that's what I usually do right about now is I give a shout out to those who gave us super thanks on the very last stream. So these following people that I'm going to be covering here right now are the ones who gave us super thanks last night. Okay. And it started off with Bill Hawkins and a $20 super thanks. Thank you, Bill. Storm Cop came in and immediately gave us another $20 super thanks. Thanks, James. Ben Scheidecker with a $5 super thanks. And you know what? $5, we get a lot, probably more than any one particular amount. And those really, because I've told you that $2 mounts up really quickly when several of you do it. And $5 is wonderful. Thank you so much, Ben. Also, John Foster followed in with another strong $5. Terry Batdorf gave us a $2 um, uh, super thanks. Honest God, I do know what these things are. And then followed that up with a $20 super thanks. So $22 from Terry. Thank you so much. Rockin' Robin Bird in for, and you know what? She's so good about getting this $2, $2, $2. And she's one of our key people who give us super thanks. So thanks so much. Deuces Wild $10. He's in the news today, right? Followed finally by Richard Mueller. Thank you so much, Richard, for your $5 super thanks. Okay, so now let's get back to kind of the discussion. Oh, I forgot, I told you that I'd give you a roll call on who has joined in memberships. And we're going to be talking a little bit about a infamous members only video that I did that a portion got leaked out. I don't know who did that, right? And has caused the channel consternation, right? So, all you channel members, I would strongly suggest that you get on over there and watch that if you haven't gotten it yet. But we've got a whole ton of new channel members. We, of course, have my beloved wife, Kimberly Noland, who is a tribal chieftain. She pays for it out of her own pocket, folks. Storm Cop, tribal chieftain. All right, right from the beginning, man. He was right there. I think Kimberly and him were the first two to ever join. Followed by Sean McCall, tribal chieftain, Sue Holler, tribal elder, Tony Gattos, tribal elder, Donald Hall, Professor Donald Hall, I might add, tribal elder, Brian the Queeber Gris, tribal elder, John Foster, Just the Facts Man, and Divining Dragon, all tribal elders, followed by Eric Demery, Cynthia, Royce in the house, Brian Bingham, who is a tribal chief. Royce, Cynthia, and Eric are elders. Rockin' Robin Bird, an elder, Andrew Blackard, Kathy Sandrew, Dan DeLynch, Shay, hi Shay, and P401, hi Paul, how you doing? And Ben are all tribal elders, with Ben Scheidecker being a tribal chieftain. All right. And then we get to Greg. These are all tribal elders here. Greg Oberheim, Tim Scarrow, Michael Boswell, able bodied, all people that I hear from all the time. A big hi to every one of you. The Purple Sam Squatch, Bizarre Pudding, Stephen Schnee, the CD guy, Jennifer Andrews, Richard Mueller, Marco Esquandolis, I believe is how you pronounce his last name, Bill Hawkins, and Brian Quimby, along with Teresa Gosnell, Jersey Devil, Droog, Silicon Avatar 84, Smell the Glove, Propa Collecta, Brett Glasgow, Tina Robles, Harry Mack, and Luis Ariza. Bill Hawkins just gave you a super thanks. Oh, thank you, Bill. I'm going to come on over here and take a look at that. So the tribe is growing despite dastardly doings in the shenanigans, isn't it? My goodness, Bill Hawkins, my goodness, $50 super thanks, Bill. From the bottom of my heart, I do appreciate that. You know, this stream was bought and paid for by you guys last night, so I appreciate the bonus here. And good Lord, that's not a bonus. That's an earthquake. What is that? A 7.5? It's got to be, baby. Yeah. Anyway, Bill, thank you. He doesn't say anything, nice. Just a nice super thanks. So what? Yeah, absolutely thank wonderful. So much, Bill. Okay, so that gets us down to it. Now, if you weren't on last night's stream, let's see, we've got just under 40 watching right now. That's a good place to start. Now, if you weren't on last night's stream, it kind of goes like this. We're talking about basically freedom of speech, aren't we? Okay, but we're also talking about rock stars. We talked about how many of them are, some of them anyway, are billionaires, and many of them are on their way to becoming billionaires. And even if they aren't quite in billionaire status, they are so rich that power drips from them, or at least they feel it does. Okay. So when we talk about freedom of speech, the first thing I want to say tonight before we get any further, I am a firm advocate for freedom of speech, and I am a firm advocate for freedom of speech within the arts. It's essential. Okay? It's essential for our society. I absolutely concur with that. And I also mentioned other areas where, and in this case, we're going to take it from a broader term like artists to rockers, people in the classic rock industry that, bands I cover, and how and what they believe. Now, once again, they are as free a citizen as I am, and they have their rights. They are a child of the universe. They have their rights to be here and to think and to say what they think. Okay? But when you're talking about freedom of speech, you also don't get automatically the freedom to yell fire in a crowded theater. Now, you might be thinking, oh, wait a minute, you're kind of playing fast and loose with your analogy there, son. That's a matter of life and death. But what about speech that would incite people into actions that could harm other people, right? And what about speech derived on by people with a lot of that power, and they're no smarter than you or I? They didn't go to university. They didn't study economics and then, attack whatever pundit. And I'm talking about people from the left and right. Okay. So, inflamed speech is something that I would not be for. Okay. And it's funny because 2 or 3 years ago, inflamed speech would get you canceled. And yet it doesn't seem to these days, does it? All right. And I also explained that as, free thinkers and men and women of free speech that if they chose to attend political rallies or benefit concerts for political entities, hey, they're citizens, they can do what they want, and nobody there's being held for ransom. You go to a political rally, you might have one or two, I said in my last stream, one or two reporters that are assigned there from, say, the other side. They don't want to be there, but they're being paid to be there one way or another. Most of those people are are wanting to be there. They want to hear that individual and that rock star. I gave the example of Bernie Sanders and Neil Young at a rally. I had no problem with that. What I had a problem with it was when Bernie Sanders the very next day wound up at the Coachella. I couldn't think of the name of the uh, putrid little concert that he went to, and he spoke politics and then introduced the next person I've not even interested in or even heard of until I looked up the article, and praised her for uh, her agenda driven and alt left views. All right. Thus making this now become, in my humble opinion, a political rally. The only problem was is that now they had paid attendance and nobody asked anybody permission for him to show up or anything like that, right? Nobody asked for that when they bought their tickets. Now, granted, at the Coachella Festival, I'm sure 85 to 90% of the people going there probably weren't too harmed either. But is that because of the energies that that festival has been stewing and stirring up into a magic potion for years, right? So a lot of people from the other side, a different point of view, may just issue from that festival naturally. But that's only one example. What about a venue that's open more to the general public, where you have the chance of getting somebody equally from the left or the right? Doesn't that become almost a common law event? I know, yeah. It just kind of came to me, like shouldn't we? We are here together. We cohabitate together. All of us should curtail our demands and wants and rights and everything, and just be good old folks to one another and enjoy the music. All right. Now, what about now? This is the other thing. And after I get through with my spiel here, folks, I'm going to direct my attention to some of your wonderful comments. We're going to be talking about the poll I'm running. We're going to go over that real quick. Then we're going to talk about what you guys are saying. All right. So I was fit and tied for time last night. I had to get over to Roy's, so I couldn't extend my 1 hour presentation. And I'm not going to go through everything I went through last night. That was last night. Tonight, I'm just kind of giving you an update. One thing I didn't mention was what happens when an artist, aka a band, now that's a collective artist, isn't it? That's not one person. That's four, maybe three, but four, five, seven, 8 members, depending on what band you're talking about. And decisions made for that band are made collectively. All right. But over the years, one or two members start getting extra power. Maybe they write most of the songs. And the band kind of tends to give them their way because, after all, they're their little gold mine. We don't want to upset Herbert or Stephanie too much. I mean, they are producing for us, so they get more power that way. Or they go through finanglings, usually through management and fast ass deals. We talked about, Grand Funk Railroad on Royce's channel last night. Great channel. You should subscribe. As always, he's wonderful, good friend of mine. And all the shenanigans regarding Terry Knight and all of that, stab in the back, Creedence Clearwater Revival. Well, what about the famous Senator Cranston and the Eagles incident? Ah, That's when they all turned against me. Right? P401 just sent you 5 gift Paul, memberships. Oh, you did it last night, I think, for Royce. I see Royce is in the chat. Thank you so much, Paul. You know what, folks? We've kind of finally figured this out. What it does is and I'm not comfortable with this, but it's as fair as it's going to get. The YouTube algorithm decides who to put these flags out. So Paul has gifted us 5 new memberships. That would get us close to 50 members. That Paul, I can't now. That's like a $25 gift, Paul. All right. Thank you so much. And if you get the chance, if that flag comes up, nibble on it. All right. Because the channel memberships are going places. I've redirected all of my energies. Now, I still make my videos to the greater tribe, right? I have different audiences for different things. I have people who only participate in my polls, I have people who only watch my shorts. I have people who mainly watch my streams, but don't watch a lot of my regular videos, right? So I'm wearing a ton of hats here, all right? And but what I've done is I've tried to focus on you. There's about anywhere, it depends on the season, but I've got a good core 5,000 of you that'll show up for most of my stuff, and an outer good core of about 10,000 of you that'll show up for my, well, interesting stuff. I watch him when he's interesting. Other than that, have mouth will travel, like he always says, right? But thank you so much, Paul. P401, you are a rock star. And that goes absolutely the same for, was it Bill? They gave us that wonderful Bill Hawkins. Both rock stars in my book. All right, so here we are, Senator Cranston. They're doing this benefit concert for him, which was mainly an idea from Glenn Fry, I believe, and probably, went past Don Henley. Go, well, I suppose we could do it with you. Yeah, Glenn Fry was yeah, we got to do this, man. He's the guy. Yeah, yeah, no. Anyway, the two of them cooked up some sort of deal, and the rest of the Eagles trotted along because, well, you know, that's what they do because these two had power. Now, uh, the only thing that Don Felder did was Senator Cranston came up and thanked the band and shook their hands for showing up. Now, Don Felder wasn't very gracious, because he held out his hand and he says, "Yeah, whatever," right? And that incensed the powers that be, but is specifically Glenn Fry. They almost got into fisticuffs over it. A guitar was destroyed by Don Felder, storming off, quitting the Eagles, and all of that. Of course, he would return later, but that bad taste never left the mouth. And on top of that, he was already suspicious about monies not being given properly to all members, which he was a full time member, right? And that got him into trouble. But now, see, now you have members of the band that are being held hostage, aren't you? You're having members of the band because those who do it, and you go, well, they know their job. See, and this is what I'm hearing. I'm hearing from the other side. Well, they know their job. They get good and paid for it. And if Bruce Springsteen wants them all, they know their job. If Paul McCartney wants everybody in the band to eat vegetarian, damn it, that's the job. And on one hand, I understand that. That is the job, I guess. But the expectation from the boss, is that a job that anybody wants? Well, it pays good. Yeah. All right. We saw that in the tech industry. The job pays good. We just want your soul, right? Gets down to that. So I can hear that, right? And then, but that line of reasoning often leads to further reasoning saying, look, you know who he is or she is. You know what they're going to say before you ever bought your damn ticket. Shut up and listen. You know, why are you making a big deal out of this? And the other side of the thought is that, look, I willingly came here. I know I don't agree with him politically, but I wanted to hear his music, and I don't want to hear his claptrap or her claptrap, right? And so here's the deal. So we've got this rock and a hard place thing going, except that it's not quite that, because not only do you have on one side a group of people who will not move, they have the right. You should just expect it, and that's the way it's going to be. And you have the other guys going, yeah, but all I'm asking for him is not to preach. I'm not asking him to change the lyrics of his politically driven music that I paid to see, right? I'm not asking him not to show up at rallies. I'm not asking him to do paid commercials for the other side, whatever that other side is. I'm just asking him, since I bought personally a ticket to listen to his music, that he would just do that. Uh, Singers like John Mellencamp were actually having people yelling out at from the audience, "Shut up and just play the damn music." I think there was another word there, starting with F. Use your imagination, right? And this paragon of virtue, John Mellencamp, what was his response? I don't remember the name of his, one of his cronies backstage. We'll say it's Joe, right? He goes, "Joe, get the name of that guy. I'm going to talk to him after." How very brave of you. Get on down there. You can see him. He's in line of sight, you coward. What, you cronies? Yeah, you're going to have them take him backstage for messing up your show? And then he has the audacity to turn around and say, "This is theater," because he was playing in a theater, right? How artistic, John. Another guy who thinks he's Will Rogers. "Well, I'll just do a couple of rope a dopes here. Zoop, zoop. Yeah, that kind of reminds me when I was riding drag back in the day. It's like any Democrat, that kind of thing. Homespun wisdom, right? Homespun wisdom. This is theater. Why, I'm Wild Bill Hickok in the Old West show. This is the thing they want you to buy. Okay. Bruce Springsteen sitting down on the stage, you know, kind of thought he'd have a little rope, whoop, whoop, whoop. I come from a horrible country, whoop, 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 you know. And the thing is, he's just some schmuck, talented schmuck, genius schmuck at times, right? But he's just a schmuck that hit it. A lot of people didn't hit it, but he hit it, right? And he had spent the majority of his life being so rich that for him to be considered a representative of the common man is absolutely laughable, in my opinion. All right. So you've got these different scenarios. And my question tonight, and then I'm going to turn to some of you, we're going to take a look at this poll. And My question to you guys tonight: have we lost all sense of common sense and common courtesy? What's wrong with eschewing from the politics? Still got trillions of avenues to express it, and bring their fans together and let the music and the words and the lyrics speak for themselves. I'm not curtailing anybody's freedom of speech by suggesting that I can see. In fact, I could see an outreach by artists who would all of a sudden have a wake up call and offer that. I'm tired of doing this. I would rather have a united fan base, no matter what their belief systems are, because I trust my fans out there to make the wisest decisions in their own personal lives, just like terrific me. Okay. But you're not going to see that, are you? because that doesn't dredge up extra dollars for saying this, saying that. Who knows where? Good Lord. You know, politician and political statements are often in bed with each other. We all know that. All right, so now let's get back to the idea of this poll tonight. I've got a three-part poll going on right now. It's into the finals, as you guys probably know. Last night I announced it was hitting a little over 3,000. It has now hit a total of, let's see, 4.1, 4.7, if you round everything up. So near 5,000 votes on this. Now, part one, I gave you four people who are known to be very politically engaging with their audiences and everything else like that. The question was, and one of you took offense at guilty, right? Okay, uh, you know, yeah, guilty. That's my response to you, by the way. Yeah, guilty. But the question was, which of the following icons are the most guilty of turning their live concerts into political rallies? Because if somebody was turning a live concert into a political rally, and yet that political rally has rules that the average person cannot cross as far as etiquette, then yeah, I'd use the word guilty. Okay, to the one person who responded to that. Your choices were Roger Waters, Ted Nugent, Bruce Springsteen, and Bono from U2. Now, in last place was Ted Nugent. I am surprised by that. Yeah, but he was in dead last place. He got 18%. Bono edged him out, and I'm surprised that Bono was in third place with 19%. Bruce Springsteen, despite all the hullabaloo this week, still only came in second place, 24%, to Roger Waters, 39%. Almost 40% of you voted for Roger Waters being guilty of turning his rock concerts into into political rallies. And I thought of using the word induction centers. I've used that term before, but I didn't want to offend too many people on this poll. Anyway, all right. Now, part two, I included four more people: Eddie Vedder, Crosby, Stills, Nash, and Young. It was too easy just to put Neil Young out there, and then the astute of you would have gone, "Well, what about Crosby, Stills, Nash?" They're kind of political. Tom Morello and Joan Baez. Now, in this group, this blew me away. Joan Baez by far won with 39% of you. That's the same percentage that Roger Waters got. All right. 39% of you. Now, in second place, Tom Morello. And then in third place, Crosby, Stills, Nash, and Young, even despite the fact that Young's been making headlines doing exactly what I'm talking about here, only he's doing it at an actual political rally. They came in third place with Eddie Vedder at 19. Okay. So I took the top two winners of those two pieces. I see that. And that's a good place to stop. I'll get right back to that. Oh my goodness. What do you do, darling? What are you doing? You say it's Michael? Yes, Michael Boswell. Let me get on over here. See you, Michael Boswell? Yeah. Let's see. Did I scoot over to the wrong? I think I got the wrong thing here. Let's get over to live, punch that one, and I'll bet you 10 to 1 I'll find you, Michael. See what he. I have faith. Yes, it is. All right, Michael. Thank you so much. $10. Thank you. We have become a divisive nation. You have to take sides to get along. If you bring up the other side or support the middle ground, you are chastised, except you and I. And there is we talked about that, Michael, didn't we, about the hive mentality? You can't question authority. A lot of people will say, well, that's our entire background, is question authority, power to the people. And you're going, then where did your ability to question authority go? In my head, every single time. Michael, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Now, getting back to the post, so I took the top two winners from those two categories, and of course, those were Bruce Springsteen, Roger Waters, Joan Baez, and Tom Morello. All right. In last place was Tom Morello at only 4%. I think somebody was smelling blood. I think we had a few sharks in the water here. Joan Baez, who had this amazing amount, remember, she tied Roger Waters in percentages in her own group, came in third place with a measly 13%. In second place with 30% was Bruce Springsteen, despite all that we've been talking about. And he's been the impetus that kind of got these streams in my latest videos about. Well, my latest video was a portion of last night's stream. It's doing extremely well, by the way, folks. My God, that shot to number one on my analytics like a bullet. You know, it's setting records right before our eyes. So after you're done with this stream, check out, especially if you haven't seen last night's stream, it's that portion where I basically talk about the Who. And I edited it in a way that you just hear me keep talking, more like one of my regular videos. It's doing extremely well. All right, but at number one, Roger Waters at 53%. Over half of you, 3% over half of you voted that he is the most guilty of the field I presented to you of turning his rock concerts into political rallies, or as I would like to call them, political induction centers, practically. Especially when you consider he has told people who don't like it, you can fuck off and leave my shows. Don't come to begin with, right? Real friendly guy. All right. So now, with all of that in mind, I then took screenshots of some of the most interesting comments here because now we want to get down to what you guys have been saying. And most of these to begin with, and then I'm going to get to some of your comments that you had from last night's stream. Remember, I couldn't get to you. So we're going to take it from there. All right. So the this is these are comments made on my poll, right? And then we'll get to comments made on last night's stream by Retro Beat Repository. Often in with super thanks. I hope you're out there. Roger is, and that's a shame because he is the greatest by far of all the above. Write songs with a message and let the people judge, says Retro Beat. Once they show up at your concert to hear those very same songs, just be glad they liked your stuff. There's no need to pile up. Okay. Robert Morton, F. Morton, but Robert Morton wrote, I can't understand why people get so heated up about rock singers being political. Rock and roll is, by definition, rebellious and critical, always has been. Also, artists are also members of society and have an opinion. I can't stand Ted Nugent, his music, or his politics, but I don't have a hissy fit when he kicks off. I simply tune him out. The commenters here are not bothered about shouting out their own opinions, but get all snowflake when artists do it. If you don't like it, don't listen. Simple. Okay. Now, there's some stuff here that Robert brings out that I agree with. But then the way he wraps it up with is it always gets down to if you don't like it, don't come. And I expressed clearly that there's some of us that don't agree with our favorite artists, and yet we still want to go and see them. Their art is greater than they are as a person, and we want to see the person that created that art. And because we don't agree with what 60 to 70% of the paying customer in that auditorium, we don't count. We don't count. There's no pre expectations. And aren't there better avenues and more appropriate avenues, right? Half of these clowns won't do serious interviews with a real serious interviewer, right? A lot of their wisdom, I'm not picking on anybody here in particular, they read a book or they meet somebody who said they read a book, and they develop and they dig themselves in a hole by pre existing beliefs that were actually righteous, but then the filter carb comes in to play, right? And dirties up the water, and they refuse to step out of the water sometimes, in my opinion. Music Lover wrote, if artists don't have the freedom to express their ideals at their shows, we are really headed down a path where free speech doesn't exist anymore. If you don't like the preaching from the stage, don't buy a fucking ticket. What the fuck? And that's exactly what I'm talking about. But I'm not going to eschew. Music Lover thoroughly disagrees with my entire assessment. So be it. All right. But see, I don't get my hair in a tangle. I don't get my nipples twisted over it, right? This is their belief. And for matter of fact, that's why I can come up with videos is I can kind of see the other side and how they've come to that viewpoint. It's people who don't bother to do that for the other side that really bothers me. Tokyo Ballet Reprise wrote, most of the people in these comments clearly have zero media literacy. Hmm. What a high brow thing to bring up, Tokyo. Most of the people, that's you folks, I think we're being called stupid. Most of the people in these comments clearly have zero media literacy. Well, enlighten us, Tokyo. Pink Floyd has always been an extremely political band. Bruce also has always been very political in his music. Okay, and I happen to know that I've read many of the comments that you are criticizing here, Tokyo, and they're all quite aware of that. So, where's the illiteracy that you're mentioning? Or who's the illiterate one? Hmm. I don't know. Sounds intolerant to me, if you ask me. That sounds rather intolerant. Yeah, you don't believe in what I believe, so you're stupid. You're just a bunch of stupid, picky people, right? The only thing I can respond to that is get used to it, right? Get used to it. You forgot John Cougar Mellencamp or whatever he calls himself, and you know what? You were right. I should have put him on the list there. Oh, I wish I had included him. From Storm Copy sent you 10 membership. Oh my goodness gracious! Oh my goodness, Storm Copy. Okay, so I'm going to scoot out of my notes here, and I'll reread that comment. We'll take it from that point, folks. So nice. What do we got here? Storm Cop. Nice. Oh my goodness, sent Ken Michael Nolan the bottom line gift memberships. Now, again, well, like I said earlier, but maybe some of you have just joined the stream. The way this happens, I wish that, and so do these guys who give these gifts, right? They're really backing me up here because neither one of us are happy that we just can't get gifts, and those are there. I'll take one. I kind of like first come, first serve. That sounds fair to me. But the algorithm spits out and makes a decision, right? And if you get offered that, please take it up. All right. And Storm Cop, this is amazing. I can't believe it. That is so sweet. Yeah, right. That wow. As good as a $50 super thanks, brother. I appreciate it. I really do. Man. As good as he says, that's the same as. Damn it. Oh my goodness. So damn it, Jim. I'm not a doctor, I'm a Missourian. Right, James? All right, brother. Thank you so much. He's a Mississippian. Mississippian. That's right. Yes. Mississippian. I'm getting my ends all mixed up. Okay, so anyway, yes, you're right. I did forget John Cougar Mellencamp, and I think he would have done quite well on this list. I have no doubt that he would have made the finals, and it was an error on in my judgment by not including him, and I'm sorry about that. Brolin of Vandor wrote, Neil Young. After decades as a fan, I finally got to see CSNY in concert at way too high a ticket price. Unfortunately, Neil turned the entire concert into a political bashing of the US president and the Iraq War, including pictures of soldiers that had died in the war on the big screens. Yeah, thank you. Well, I grew up with body bags on the evening news, so I hear you, Brolin, right? Uh, Sucked up all the enjoyment out of not only that concert, but the band in general. I haven't been able to listen to anything by them ever since. And that's what a real bad experience can do, can't it? You know? I saw Nugent three times back in the 70s. Only problem I had with him was letting success go to his head. Yeah, he is rather brash, isn't he? First two concerts were outstanding displays of his guitar work. Yeah, he does have that, brother. I hear you. Third concert, headlining at Soldier Field for a Super Bowl of rock, and I can't even picture him carrying a guitar. Most vivid image is him in a loincloth begging the crowd to hit him, which started a funnel of empty white gallons of jugs of water and funneling onto the stage, visually turned Soldier Field into a giant air popper with the stage as an outlet. Had to clear the stage three times. So theatrics that detracted from the performance, but no politics back then. Just got another super I see that. I'll be right with you, Michael. Rogers politics ruined the band, not a concert. Same with Bono. All right. We'll get to another one right here. I want to turn my attention to Michael. Michael came in with it looks like a $2. Yes, thank you so much, Michael. And you know what I feel about the $2 super thanks. They are critical to this channel's success, and you are awesome for giving us one. You will never see them put on the uniform. That's quite often true for these people. Not all true. You know, there's been rockers served time, did their thing, did what they needed to do. Hendrix was in the army. He was a paratrooper, right? Broke his ankle on a jump. So, but that's a different time under different circumstances, and maybe even out of a sense of being scared, not knowing what to do, and had only a couple of options of where they could go. That's often what a lot of young men wind up in the military. Others that they have a sense of patriotic duty. This is my time to serve my country, right? But once they're in, they're trained and they need to be unified. And amen to every single one of you that has ever served in any official capacity, as far as first responders, military, any of those. Praise be to you. We need more like you in this country. All right. Very good. Thank you so much, Michael. Okay, so Sunshine Coolwater, who occasionally comes in, been coming in for a long time. I just call him Sunshine. It says you never receive a 20-minute monologue from a plumber you hire to repair leaking pipes. Same should go for entertainers you pay to see. The plumber has the same power in their vote as a famous rock star. He certainly does, but he's there to do a service. Oh, love that word. As the rock star should just stick to playing their greatest hits live or whatever there is that they're choosing. I'm willing to listen to whatever, road they want to go down. They go down a weird road. I won't go again. Right. But yeah, their hits or whatever, their stuff, their art, perform your art because that's what you're an expert at. Who appointed you a political pundit? What special schooling in politics, what degree do a lot of these people have? Now, I'm not saying they can't be well read, autodidact, each and every one of them, but how do we know that? Just in general. And why is it that we put them, a lot about politics today, just kind of stay focused, watch the news, then use your core base, whatever it is that you think is right and wrong, and then make your decisions. Okay? Anybody else who wants to brainwash you to change your mind. Here's why you're wrong and you need to change your mind. That's scary. That's scary. And when they get a collective hive mind going that cannot be questioned, and then you have this mass mentality, and you feel like you're outnumbered no matter what you do. Whatever side that is exuding that kind of power, both sides have been on the receiving end of that historically, haven't they? both conservatives and liberals, generally speaking, have been on the receiving end of that. Nobody likes it. So why is it that when rock stars get in power, they propagate that bullshit? Sure like to know. Pablo Guerrero, guilty? Ah, this is the one. Guilty? Right? Guilty? What are you talking about? Is it that only politicians have the right to convey their points of view, ideas, or messages to the people attending their meetings? Their meetings? Pablo? Their meetings? Oh, so that's what they've become. And the 12th step shall be that you'll rescue a monkey from the tree, cut it up, and starve all of the hungry Africans. Well, whatever, feed them. All right, so that's what it is. It's a meeting. It's like an AA meeting. You know, hi, I'm Michael. I'm a rockaholic. You know, hi, Michael. So glad you joined us. Let us let you know what you're going to be thinking from now on. I'm a proponent of Alcoholics Anonymous. I'm a recovering alcoholic. I've been clean and sober for 36 years. So I love those programs. But that type of thinking in everyday life, those programs teach you to think in real life and not to have to refer to every single one of those rules, to inculcate them and then blend them with your core personality. I know. I've worked the program. Speaking with authority here. All right. I'm hearing, I had to finish my thought there. I'm hearing Kimberly, folks. I'm not ignoring her, right? She's out there going, "Wah, wah," and I don't even know what she's about, but boy, she is. Let me find out what's going on here. Did we get another super thanks, baby?
Yeah, Deuce is wild.
Oh, Deuce is wild. $5. Thank you so much, Deuce.
Yeah, he's got a comment.
Yes.
Oh, so nice.
Synthetic toughness is so unbecoming. Ah, boy, I could do a whole 10-minute rant on just that term that you decided to open up with, Deuce. Synthetic toughness. You like that, baby?
I like it.
There's a lot of synthetic toughness out there, ain't there? Is so unbecoming. Talks oh so tough to paying customers with guards around you. I'm looking at you, Mellencamp. Yeah, me too, brother. I thought that, that showed what a little rat trap of a coward he is. He's got his people. And by the way, Deuce, I want to make sure I was, talking to the right person here. John Mellencamp has a ton of people around him. He's so yes oriented. He probably has a committee designed to tell him when to take a shit.
Oh, dear.
All right, if you really want to get down to it, want to know how much he's worth? How about $500 million? Aren't we special? Hey, Joe, go get that guy. Get his name. I'm gonna. Ooh, tough guy. Why don't you just charge on down there? Hey, do a pit dive, brother. I can't. For this theater. Oh, I get it. You're a serious act now. I feel like Bob Dylan. Oh, I get it. You don't want to be cute anymore. You never were cute, John. I bought every freaking one of your albums up to the early 2000s. A personal hero of mine. I actually prefer John Mellencamp over Bruce Springsteen, and I love Bruce Springsteen, right? Can't go see either one of them. Don't feel welcome. My kind ain't my kind ain't their type. They don't want to even do business with me. Because why? It's not because I disagree with them politically, because how do you know what I agree with? I haven't said what I agree with. I'm just saying, don't do that here. And I mean that to Ted over there, Nugent as well. Okay? Everybody, let's stop this. Let's be courteous to one another. Let's enjoy the music again. Let the sun rain down on us on a summer's day, peace and love reigning. Left and right individuals coming together for that simple, wonderful experience. instead of a fire in a theater, if you get right down to it. So Pablo goes on to say, what I love of Roger Waters' concert is precisely his courage to denounce and put under the spotlight all the hypocrisy, evilness, and corruption of our political and corporate leaders. Pretty bad that condemning what is nasty or wrong had led you to label him and people like him as guilty. That was the end of his thing. Well, I was very specific, Pablo, about what I was talking about. Okay. See, this was no longer just an individual who was exercising his right. There were paid attendees there. And you can't make the assumption that every paid attendee agrees with you. And you can't. Now, I think some of these rock stars go, but oh, yes, I can, because they all bought my albums. And my message has always been clear. All right, well, then why are you needing to yell it through a megaphone? Play. Play something from Pink Floyd for us, Roger. Sing the lyrics. The message is as gold as it ever was, right? You keep re explaining those lyrics to us all the time, right? Okay. So it's not a matter of not having the freedom of speech, Pablo. Pablo, I've said it many times, there are many other avenues. There are some times you don't pee in church. It gets down to that. There are some things you just shouldn't do. And to me, and it's just my simple opinion, that's all this is. I know many of you right now are seething. That's why I'm trying to represent both sides of this, because I know this isn't going to go away overnight. And freedom of speech in the United States and in the world should be prioritized at all times. But that doesn't mean you get to use it as a weapon. And sometimes I feel it is be. Zep fan wrote in, I'm probably the only liberal in here. You're not. Pablo there looks a little more on the liberal side, right? I have a liberal side, believe it or not. I also have a conservative side. I am predominantly down the middle, probably leaning a little conservative these days, but I've leaned to the left. It all depends what's going on, right? Both sides have good things to offer, and both sides, if you're not careful, could be a danger. You watch your political parties, and don't be so wrapped up in a political party that you can't jump fence and go, no, I can't go there, can't go for that. No, no can do, right?
Oh,
I
Ben,
saw that.
Ben.
Is that Ben?
Yeah,
Yeah,
'cause
you're about this small on my screen, so I have to switch over, Ben. But I did see the thing there just as I was tying up. Ben Scheidegger, $2. Thank you, Ben. Waters has regressed to the man who spit on the fan. Yeah, well, it gets down to that. It really does get down to that. Rewriting lyrics, rewriting content to refocus on what he really meant at the time. I pretty much figured out what he meant first time around. You know, I could make the jump. Well, if this happened in the future, where he would go with that. I'm not stupid. Uh, First of all, you're talking about a guy. When I listen to music, the groove's got to be there, but then you've got to have the lyrics right after that. Right out. I mean, almost right alongside it. I love great lyrics. I shared some great lyrics over on Royce's house last night, didn't I, Royce? And it was wonderful. And it was lyrics of a more uh, left leaning approach. And I brought out what was so great about him. And guess what? If Grand Funk, it was the song Creepin', right? And it was against people raping this land, right? Okay. An ecology song. All right. Love it. And everybody at the concert knows what the damn song's about. Do you have to have, oh, well, now we'll have Professor Monsieur from Chanel City come up and we'll turn this into Earth Day or something. Every time. It's got to have this big thing. It can't just be, hey, I got some money. I'd like to buy some tickets. I hear Roger's in town, but we're not welcomed, or a whole lot of us. And Roger doesn't even know if my disagreements with him are based on his politics or not. My disagreement with him is basing his politics at rock concerts, whatever those rock politics are, right? Sometimes you can't reinvent stupid, folks. You just can't because it's always there. Um, David Texter says performers need to keep rock shows for all the fans and not for their own grievances. All right. You go to see great music and performance from any of these acts, then, like others have stated, politics and personal gripes are broadcast at the audience. Some like it, some hate it, and others just wish it would be left at home. Show was really memorable until it became very regrettable very fast. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump back and then I'm going to switch over to some of the comments you said last night, but I want to take a look at who's here and what's been going on. I'll start about halfway down. I always do a roulette here. It's the only way to fairly get this. Otherwise I start at the beginning. I never get to the latest. So I start somewhere in the middle. I'll go down, then I'll go up a little and see if I can hit you because there are so many freaking comments here. Jorge Pita says meow. Well, meow back, Jorge. Good to see you. Uh, let's see. Divining Dragon says that Michael Boswell rocks. I agree. Yes, he does. Royce in the house says, hey, Christ chick autistic. Everybody's just chatting away here, folks. This is wonderful. Oh, Kimberly's talking to you guys. Divining Dragon, 73 likes. Oh, and it's gone to 84 since then. Oh, and you know what? I'm glad I read this. Kimberly was telling me last night, Christian, that you and Storm Cop, there's Oberheim, Royce, there's a whole slew of you. As soon as I said Doctor, there's a bunch of you that are freaking cheerleading this from the sidelines that I don't often pick up. She shows me after, see, before we shut down the device. A lot of your comments are still up there and we'll scroll up and down. That's how I got some of the comments I will be reading here in just a bit. So, absolutely, 73, that is wonderful. We're at 87 now. 13 more. We'll get 2 official bump ups here. We've got 78 watching. We've even had more than that, but we've come up a bit. Welcome if you've just started joining the stream. We're talking about uh, basically rockers who tell us what to think, or rockers who think they should be able to tell us what to think. And that's fine. We all should be able to tell each other what to think or how we feel they should think. At least present that to one another. But then when somebody says, no, thanks, I'm not having any, well, then say, that's okay. Thank you for your time, and be pleasant to one another and realize that that's a valid individual. You know nothing about how they got to their mental uh, point in their life and why they are voting or why they are believing or why they are not believing in what they don't believe in. We don't know their history, but we know our history. And so therefore it must be valid. Valid. I always say ballad lately. All right, it must be valid. Me and my friends, we have a shared history. We must be valid. Everybody else is strange, right? And then the hive minds start coming out. Well, here's the rules for the club. You can't question the club, right? I can. Never will stop. Christ, chick autistic finally caught alive. Well, welcome, welcome. I'm glad you did, and I now I know who Royce was talking to here. I appreciate your support, Royce. I really do. Uh, let's see. What else do you guys have to say? Bill Hawkins. Hey, I was always anti-establishment. Served 4 years in the Army and volunteered for Vietnam twice. Oh, good Lord. Thank you so much. I've said same thing for James, Super Cop, for your service and for each and every one of you that I'm not aware of that. You guys put your very being on the line for us, and we should all be appreciative of that. That's a dirty job. right?
Yeah.
And it's not done dirt cheap. It
No.
can cost you
No. They
very
put their
dearly.
lives on the line.
Yeah. And got treated like shit when I got home. Yeah. Never understood that. Never understood that. Maybe that was the beginning of intolerance right there. What side did that come from? All right. A lot of the people who came home and got shit on too didn't want to go. They were drafted. They went, they served their time. It doesn't matter how they got there. Thank you for your service if you were drafted. That's fine, right? I don't think the draft should have happened. I don't think it was a draftable war. From what I understand, wasn't a war. Wasn't that a police action, darling?
Yeah, I think so.
I think, officially it was pronounced as a police action.
Yeah.
Send in a bunch of cops, but not Storm Cop. Storm Cop can't go. We're keeping him. But no, you see what I'm saying? Police action. And we are, uh, you know, taking young men, and it cost us heavily. And you guys that have put yourself on the line, Dan is a service member. Dan the man, right? Just the facts man. Always appreciate that. Always appreciate anybody that puts themselves on the line in any way, whether that's serving your country or in life in general. I'm on the bottom line. Now, there's the line in the sand. Don't cross it because I'll back it up. Whatever it is. And that's not being physical. I'm not advocating violence. I'm talking about having a firm resolve in what you believe. And everybody's got a firm resolve in what they believe. And if we're not tolerant, what happens? Civil war breaks out of some sort, even if it's only a social civil war. You know, who needs it? Not me. Not me at all. All right. So now I'm going to get back down to here where I actually got some really cool uh, things that Kimberly took screenshots of. Now, she took dozens. Well, maybe not a dozen, close to 20. And so if I don't get to all of hers tonight, I'm not. I only chose a handful here. But just these were highlights that we saw, and then of course her original list I went on and edited for my own presentation here. So if Kimberly didn't, if you think Kimberly didn't kind of freeze your comment, she probably did. I just didn't pick it out of the ones here. I was trying to keep it, uh, keep us going down a particular road here, a line of thought. So I kind of focused in on those. Um, Peter Valenzon, last night, this is last night while I was yammering and I couldn't get to you guys. He says, I'm eating a meal right now in defiance of Beetle Paul. That's Frank Walton, by the way, that said that. And you know what? There's another thing. These guys, they're big guys, right? And I'm not saying, vegetarianism is bad. It's a valid diet. It's a lifestyle choice and go for it. And if you know what you're doing, I know a bit about nutrition. You can get a balanced diet out of being a vegetarian. You can gain muscle being a vegetarian. You don't become some limp, tree-like wraith out there. Being a vegetarian, it's fine. And I'm glad that that lifestyle has found his way, made Paul happy and Linda happy while she was still alive. But his whole thing is no meat shall be served at my concerts. All my band must eat my food. Seems a little bit much. Paul doesn't come off that way to me. I mean, that's his, and I know we get his radio voice, his radio or his TV smile, right? But it seemed like almost everything, he's got, what about his song? Too many people preaching practices. He has a common sense side to him, but this is a little bit much. And, he's a billionaire and something happens. He's been richer for much longer than he was alive, a poor young Liverpudlian lad looking for a chance in life, right? And here's what we deal with. A lot of people call him Maca, and some people endearingly, and some people use that term to describe a guy who's maniacal about controlling the people around him and his press. So I'm a major Paul McCartney fan, but I'm also aware he's a man, just like the rest of us. Peter Valenzen said, I don't mind people having political opinions, but not to the point where they think they know better than everyone else and not respect different views. Not a good idea to bring them into a concert. And I agree. Dr. Insomnia followed that with, don't they have their own websites where they can lecture all they want? Right? I, and exactly. I mean, they have, I've got my own channel. One of them's out there watching this and not liking what they see, they can set up something a hell of a lot bigger than 44,790. Shameless plug. Uh, Subscriber based channel, right? All these people I'm talking about could, if they set it up right and everything, their websites, man, they're doing major business still, right? And if they just must say it in front of people, do your concert, and then go across the street and do a TED Talk. How's that sound? Everybody in a TED Talk wants to be in there, like lappy little dogs. Hi, I discovered the star Indurus in the galaxy far, far away, and this is why I think rubber band motors are the wave of the future, and all that nonsense that you hear over there. They used to be cool, but man, you get weird stuff over on TED Talks these days, right? Kind of grafted into that. Ben Scheidegger said, that I concur with that, TJ. Let's see. Oh, TJ said Carl Palmer is a vegan but eats fish twice a day, and he said I concur that. TJ, however, I really didn't like Gilmore using the trademark name to side with Ukraine and mostly using the fighting lyrics from Ukraine Soldier to resist. Yeah, resist is a big word these days. I'm gonna kind of sidestep that, Ben. Uh, but it doesn't matter. But yeah, to me, who is Roger Waters to talk about what side and who to support and why would? Well, anyway, I love it when people from countries that have nothing to do with America telling what Americans should do. You know, Roger Waters is a green card holder. All right, which is fine. He's got his rights. His rights. All settled down. I saw what you were going to do there. Settle down. But if he really wants to be, sit here and talk about Americans and everything, well, then get your damn, you know, get your citizenship. Move over here permanently. Denounce your ties with there. Represent us. You know, yeah, I don't know. Michael Noland, the bottom line, the biggest problem since shortly after George W. Bush is this need to follow a side and blank out the other side. But there are sides, but there are sides to everything. And I agree with that 100%. Storm Cop says, Amen, shipmate. uh, let's see. TJ says the final cut is dated drive, and when Roger came out of the is dated drivel, and when Roger came out of the political concert or closet, I should say. Boy, I really ding that one up. The final cut is dated. I'm going to do it a third time's a charm. The final cut is dated drivel, and when Roger came out of the political closet. Okay. Tacit Jones, good to see that he was in. Fairly new to the channel, but been quite vociferous. I'll buy Bruce and Roger CDs, but I'll buy them used so they don't get any royalties from them, as I'm certain they would want to be soiled by my money. Certainly, they don't want your money. Sure, they do. Sure, they do. They want their cake and they want to eat it too. It really does get down to that, doesn't it? All right, folks, we've got a heat wave going here. We've had to turn down air conditioners, the whole gambit today, to be able to do this. And I got sweat dripping down my face right now. And so I think I've covered everything. We didn't have time. I also covered a lot of your thoughts on this. I want to hear from you in the comments. tonight. Let me know where you stand on this. I don't want division over this. I would rather that we come to a conclusion, yeah, and celebrate the right to make political statements, but also that we have a commonsensical approach to when it's appropriate. Does that make sense to you? Also, if you haven't seen my latest video, it's just a snippet. What is it? About 10 minutes, a little over 10 minutes on the Who debacle, right? And what I've done is I've edited it into a 10-minute section. There's not a lot of channel business going on with it. And when I edited it, why do I have trouble with that word from time to time? Anyway, when I edit my videos, Wilma, uh, I realized that it held pretty much everything that I would do if I covered that in a regular video anyway. So I went ahead and put it out, and it's been going great guns. I want to thank each and every one of you who participated in my poll. I want to thank all of you, over 6,000, who have watched my last three shorts, right? Views are up, right? We're still experiencing some problems with the growth. The channel is growing, but especially these last couple of streams I've done and video based on that. Um, we had a drop in subscribers, and I've already explained in my last. And plus, we've talked about a drop of in subscribers through the back door. I'm getting a lot of complaints from you folks saying, "I never unsubscribed to you, Michael." And all of a sudden, I just realized one day I wasn't getting notified of any of your videos, and out of sight, out of mind. And then I was thinking about you one day, and I looked up the channel, and you had put out like 12 videos that I hadn't seen. What up? Right? I can't tell you other than I monitor my analytics very closely. I also know that most of any YouTube content creators new subscribers comes from content he or she has created in the last 3 months. It's not coming from there. It's not coming off there. That includes losses too. Last 3 months, right? You don't get a lot of people quitting your channel when they watch a video you did 3 years ago. It's usually something that you've said recently, and that makes them upset, and then they quit, right? So I'm all aware of a lot of you. Like I said, we lost over 30 of you when I put out that video. And that, yeah, like I said then, uh, that's fine. If this isn't the kind of channel where we can't have a dialogue, if I have another side of the story, I'm always trying to say, please take me to task, disagree with me. I think I've handled your disagreements fairly well. If I'm strongly disagreeing with you, even after your comment, I'm going to still strongly disagree with you. But I appreciate you showing up. I appreciate your comments, and I appreciate your stance in life, right? I may not agree with it, but you wouldn't want to live my life either, right? So that's what we are. We're just folks. We got a lot of different viewpoints in life. We come from all corners. This channel has a worldwide audience. We have tons of subscribers in New Zealand, Australia, Germany, France, France, UK, Canada, Mexico, South America, all over the place in South America, and of course, right here in the United States. And the one thing I can say to each and every one of you, no matter where you are on this wonderful world that we live in, is that you are human. We all have basic needs and desires. We all want to feel good about ourselves. We all embrace what we think is right and wrong. Some of us are willing to take chances with that, and some of us play it a little bit more safe, but we're all valid no matter what we are. And I wish each and every one of you a wonderful weekend. For you viewers who support this channel, for you who give me thumbs up, we are one away, folks. 99 thumbs up right now.
Oh
We are
my
one away
goodness, and it's
to
so
get a second
awesome.
bump. Okay, one stinking thumbs up away from getting a second bump. Ah, jump to 101, just like that. Now we only need 49. Oh, good Lord, Mildred, the man never stops, right? But I love you, each and every one of you. Kimberly loves you. This is
Oh, yeah.
becoming
You
a
guys are the
family
best.
event. It's like, well, are you going to make the potato salad, dear? I wish we could do that, right? Wouldn't it be great? Maybe sometime in the far future, we'll be able to reach right into our, yeah, I'll reach over to Stormcop and grab, a dill pickle from him. Anyway, you go, all right, I think Nolan's losing it. Anyway, I appreciate you all supporting this channel financially today. Look for your shout outs. I got all the shout outs from my last two streams. Oh, I did it again. I wanted to shout out Brend. Oh, good Lord. Went right past it. I did it last time too. All right. So, on my video that I shared with me on Royce in the House just a couple of videos ago, Brandon 1351, love the number, Brandon, left us with a $5 super thanks. And you are on the list to be, I didn't nab it there. See what happens if you give a super thanks on a regular video, it goes right to me, but it goes into another pile. And when you're looking at your analytics, you have to kind of search for that. And I found it. So, Brandon, a belated thank you very much. I usually catch these right off. I did catch this error and it was in my notes, but I was handling two hot topics last night and trying to cram all of that into a single hour. Can you imagine that? Right? All right, folks. So that'll do it for me. Let's see. Today is Monday. I have a regular video to shoot and also an upcoming members video. I hope all of you got a chance to take advantage of that. I've got some great ideas on where to take the next members only videos. All right. I want to do a series. And I've got a couple of ideas, but I'm open to suggestions still. I've said that, right? And I'll be looking at your suggestions. Okay, so that about does the stream today. We went a little over an hour, actually, about close to an hour and 20 minutes. And I appreciate you putting up with me 2 days in a row. I'm Michael Noland. The channel is The Bottom Line. And of course, when I go live, I call it the Tribal Forum. This is my chance to talk to you guys in the real. I only got to a couple of you, but I had to catch up a couple of you today, but I had to catch up with some of the comments with the poll and everything else. And by the next stream, things will calm down. I'll spend a lot more time with what's happening here. Royce is in there. Good night. Good night. Yeah, I'm afraid of Americans. I'm afraid of the world. I'm afraid I can't help it. Sorry, it's Bowie tonight. Amen. I love that song. I'm afraid of a man. Yeah, good Lord, get me going there. Paul, thank you so much for, and was it James? We got a ton of uh, new member offers anyway, if you guys take it. So if it's offered to you, take it. It's free of charge to get a taste. And I guarantee you, I'm going to be offering something over there that you might want to stick around for rather than just a free, simple membership. Okay? All right, guys. Like I said before, kisses from the bottom and all of that. And I hope all of you are having a wonderful weekend. If not, do what you can, but behave yourself. Longtime viewers know where that comes from. All right, guys. Love y'all, and I'll see you on my next stream. Night.